for joining us today. I am here with 3 industry experts, and we are here to talk about technology, like we always do in these sessions. And more specifically, in this session today, we're here to talk about how dealers really need to embrace technology, but also how when the market is down, like it has been this past year, and still is, how now is not the time to freeze, and how dealers who actually act now, as opposed to waiting and see, will really be more successful in the long run. So we have lots to cover, so let's get to it. Some quick housekeeping, actually, on the right side of the GoToWebinar pane, you can ask some questions. We encourage you to ask questions. We'll answer any questions at the end. And of course, this session is being recorded, and everyone who registered will get the link after the live session. So quick introductions, I'll run through this just for the sake of time. We have Aaron Keating with us, CIO and VP of Technology from Lipsey.
Hey, Michelle.
We have Jamison Collins, VP of Sales at FastBound. Travis Glover, COO at 4473, as well as Silencer Shop, of course. And myself, Michele Salerno, Chief Growth Officer here at Celerant. So we have a lot of different dealers on today's call. Many of you are using Celerant software. Some are not, using some of the other systems here today, or of course, ordering from Lipsey. But some are not. So before we jump in, we'll just do some quick introductions on each of our companies, and we will start with Lipsey.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I'm Aaron Keating from Lipsey. Honor of representing the company here on the webinar today. So Lipsey, we're a full-line firearms distributor, been around for 60 years. We focus on customer service, shipping time, pricing, everything you expect from a distributor and want. Our calling in the industry is exclusive firearms. We have the best exclusives in the industry. They need to stand out on your counters and your display shelves and give you something new to sell your customers. Our catalog, over 18,000 items, most popular categories. We're here to serve the heart of the dealer's needs and be their warehouse. So appreciate you having us on.
Awesome. And we at Celerant, of course, integrate with Lipsey, and we'll get to that later. Jamie.
Thank you, Shelley. Jamison Collins with FastBound. We're your compliance A&D BoundBook solution with electronic 4473s, making your compliance super easy, compliant, and streamlined to Celerant and other providers to make sure that it's an easy process. We've been in the industry for almost 16 years, have close to 7,000 active FFLs, from distributors to manufacturers to gunsmiths to retail stores. So we can help any and all FFLs.
Great, and Trav?
Hello, 4473 Cloud, I guess we're the new kids on the block, right? So ATF just started allowing folks to store 4473s digitally, and our software is system agnostic. It doesn't matter how you complete a 4473, you can store it digitally in our software. Of course, we're integrated with FastBound, which is integrated with Celerant, which is why we're all here today. That said, I've been in the industry forever, it seems like, so over 30 years in the firearms industry, with the bulk of my career spent on the compliance side of the world. And as Michelle said, I also lead our Silencer Shop wholesale distribution channel as well, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. And a quick slide just for those of you who aren't familiar with us here at Celerant. We are a retail software provider. So we really, we're one technology partner for all of your sales channels. So brick and mortar, retail store, if you have a range, your range, e-commerce, of course, mobile apps, range apps, even digital marketing. So we really, we help our retailers better manage all aspects of their retail business in store and online with one system. We just actually celebrated our 26th anniversary. I need to update this deck. We've got about 245 team members all over, and we've been a preferred software provider for the NSSF for probably close to 20 years now. And then, of course, the NRA, the ATA, NASGW, and we have 2 platforms. So the logos you see on the bottom, Cumulus Retail, Stratus Enterprise, 2 different platforms. You can start small with Cumulus, expand and grow to Stratus when you are ready. So I'm going to just sit this slide here for a second. This is ultimately what we're here today to talk about. Retailers who invest during slowdowns grow 2 to 3 times faster during recovery periods. I will say this, all of us here, we just got back from NASGW. We're always talking to different providers in the industry. And one thing I have heard again and again and again this year, especially, is that everybody is preparing. Everybody is changing tech stack, or, from the distributor side, a lot of our partners are implementing new ERPs. I can speak for us here at Celerant. We are at the tail end of converting 245 employees into HubSpot. So we are using this year to really work on some of these bigger projects that we have not gotten to. Even Silencer Shop, right? We are finally, hopefully, integrating. We've been working on it for 3 years or so. I should say working on getting to it. And here we are, we're finally doing it. So it's clear, right? Now's the time. You have some time. Act, implement, make changes. This way, when everything does turn around, which inevitably, of course, it's going to, you will be 2 to 3 times faster and stronger. And that's really the whole crux for today's session. So before we get into that, though, let's just do a quick recap of kind of where we're at now. There's a lot of words on this slide. I'm certainly not going to read them. We all know how the market has been. It has absolutely shifted. The term that I continuously have been using and have been hearing across the board is crisis fatigue, right? It has been so volatile and just so up and down these past many years, and this year especially, it is what it is. So Trav, take us through some of this and what we're seeing on the NICS side, and really, how the industry has been impacted overall.
Yeah, so overall, and I call it, and we've all heard this, the Trump slump 2.0, right? We remember 2017. 2017 was really, really rough. It's the catch-22 of the firearms industry. You have Republicans controlling Congress. You have a Republican in the White House, and there's no fear buying, right? So now it's just people who want to buy firearms. Last month, according to the NICS numbers, there was a slight actual recovery in September of 2% above 2024. But overall, the firearms industry, I think you guys all know this. I don't need to tell you. You feel it every day. Is down somewhere between 10 and 15% overall for the year. So as Michele said, down markets or stabilizing markets, that's where, as a retailer, as anybody, as Aaron at Lipsey's and certainly us at Silencer Shop, this is where we look to gain market share. Nobody gains market share when the market's going like a hockey stick, right? It's because everybody's buying from anybody they can buy from, anywhere it's in stock. So right now is the time to position yourself to find out what are the new markets that you should be looking at. How do you diversify? Because right now the firearms market, again, we know it's soft. Of course, we're coming into fourth quarter. We all expect fourth quarter to be much, much better than the second quarter or the third quarter. But overall, the overall firearms market's down. So getting right back to what we were talking about, how do you operate smarter and you sell smarter and attack the market in a much smarter way?
Well, an important piece too is we just came out of NASGW last week, and of course there was the scope luncheon where we looked at all of the industry benchmark data, and we've all seen what it's been up until now, and the expectation going into 2026, unfortunately, is going to really be sort of what we've seen. So it is not expected to really shift drastically until much later in the year 2026. And so it's just important to be aware of that and really start preparing.
So that's true, except for one segment, right?
Right. There's one outlier. Shameless plug here for Silencer Shop, but go ahead, Trav.
It's a shameless plug for Lipsey's too, and actually any distributor that is a wholesale distributor of suppressors in the overall suppressor market. So as we just talked, the overall firearms market being down 10 to 15% in 2025 versus 2024 is one thing, but the suppressor market, even with the headwinds of what's coming in January, which is the $0 tax stamp, the suppressor market's still growing. And what we're seeing year over year is Q3 saw about a 16 to 17% increase over Q3 2024. So again, firearms market is down, but the suppressor market is up. And quite frankly, I was just in DC about a month and a half ago, sitting with ATF to understand, will they be ready for January 1st when the $0 tax stamp takes over? And they're anticipate, first of all, yes, they'll be ready. That's a separate conversation, and also that's the government saying they'll be ready. So don't hold me accountable for that. That's what they said. I want to be clear, but they're anticipating a 2 to 2.5 times increase in volume starting January 1st. So if you're looking as a retailer, I'm looking at optics, I'm looking at ammunition, I'm looking at firearms, I'm looking at all the different pieces of the puzzle, whether it's soft goods, whatever it may be. What segment of the overall outdoor market, specifically in the firearms market, that is going to grow in 2026 and grow significantly? It's going to be the suppressor market. Also SBRs as well, because $0 tax stamp applies to them too. But that's what we're looking at in 2026 is probably a doubling of the market in 2026.
And that last line there is really important, though. Dealers who wait until 2026 will be late to the surge. So you really have to take advantage of this now. And we're in Q4, so get it going now. So come January, you're ready to roll.
Aaron, I'm sure your sales team is seeing this as well, but that's exactly right. If you don't have the product in January, you're already going to be way behind the 8 ball, right? So
yeah, manufacturers, they'll have orders, but demand is going to outweigh supply when it comes to that point. So stocking up now and having some inventory holding costs, having to sit on it a little while, or we've heard of people doing layaways again, just so they have their name on the list. So when it comes to the $0 tax stamp, they have the inventory allocated. So a lot of different levers dealers can pull right now to get into this segment of the market and grow some business into their stores.
That's right. And so the products are better than they've ever been. The wait times are down. We expect them to stay around a week to 2 weeks, which shouldn't impact the market. And availability will be the biggest issue. So now's the time to act if you're a dealer.
Yeah. And not just, that silencer suppressor piece is a big piece, but the overall conversation today is even more than that, right? It's now's the time to act even on your technology stack. One thing, Aaron, you said last year at SHOT Show and the year before as well, the one thing I remember you said that you noticed, especially this year at SHOT Show, well, last year I should say, is that dealers are embracing technology in more ways than we've ever seen them before. I'm in the industry 20 years, same, and I love seeing that the evolution of the industry, because way back when it was, okay, well, we had to get everybody out of manual bound books and into A&D, and then, and here we are, and now it's a bigger conversation, right? It's hopefully we're already using electronic A&D. Hopefully it's all integrated. Now we'll get to it, the digital storage of 4473s, and when we talk about in-store, online, e-commerce, online marketplaces, digital marketing, that's all the stuff that we want to talk about today. And, a lot of the dealers on this call maybe are doing bits and pieces of it, but when you really just sit down and look at the big picture, and now that it is a slower time, it is the time to really explore and investigate and demo and talk to your solution provider, because maybe they can do a lot of these things. And if they can't, maybe it's time to look at others. And, if you're already knee deep with someone, keep going. Don't pause the project and put it on hold, because it's going to take time to get onboarded and go live. And this way you'll be ready.
Yeah, that's right, Michelle. A lot of, I've seen it. I've been in the industry 22 years. In the last few years, the most adoption technology, and people really realizing that all these pieces form together to create revenue and efficiencies, and going away from the mindset, if I can't sell it, I'm not going to buy it. But now seeing these are true platforms to help you grow your business and get more efficient, save head counts, everything everybody wants to do to be more profitable in the business. I think all of it's coming to a head now and seeing, and you have a perfect bullet point there. Everybody wants an Amazon-like experience. So they, for better or for worse, people want it to be easy. They want it to be frictionless. They want a good experience when they go into stores. and all this is kind of working that way.
Absolutely. All right, and so ultimately, doing nothing is more expensive than taking action, right? Putting your projects on hold and not taking action and not making changes every single day that you put that on hold and don't implement a more efficient process or technology is costing your business money. Implementation takes time, right? So depending on, of course, the technology that you're implementing, it could take a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple months. And right now, you can probably get better pricing. Definitely when the market is hard, it's, as much as I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, now's the time to even negotiate, right? You can probably get better deals on a lot of the different things that you're looking to purchase. And reduce overhead with automation. We have so many new technologies that you can bring in and automate processes. We have a lot out, we're not going to get into it in this session, but even using AI with talk to SQL agents, there's just so much that you can benefit in tremendous ways. But it's all pinned to the technology stack that you're using. All right, so let's jump into a quick poll question here. I love to ask these because it really helps us understand who's on the call, and it's going to really shift, where we take today's conversation. So the question is, describe your tech stack. So let me launch this. Let me know, guys, when you can see that. You should see that there.
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead and select the answer that best applies to your business. And the question is, describe your tech stack. So A, just getting started and pretty manual. Let me first back up. Let me explain what I mean by tech stack. Point of sale, compliance, e-commerce, digital marketing, all the different technology platforms that you're using to run your retail business. So A, just getting started and pretty manual. B, growing but disconnected systems. C, moderate tech stack with some automation but not fully automated. Advanced tech stack but still gaps. And E, fully integrated and data-driven. And that right there are what we would call our rock stars, right? So we only have 40% who voted. So wake up and let's select, oh wow, it is a third, a third, and a third. All right, we're at 50%. So go ahead and select which is best appropriate to define your business. And this is actually not surprising. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it. We only got 60% who voted. So people must be multitasking. Oh, there we go. Here's a few more. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to close the poll. And I'm going to share it. All right, you guys see that? So we've got 43% are growing but disconnected systems. We've got 29% and 29%, a two-way tie for just getting started and pretty manual, and a moderate tech stack, some automation, which is really what I would have expected. And so this is good. So hopefully everybody today will really learn a lot and take away some really good tips for your business. Let me hide this. And then we can jump back in. All right, so these are all the areas we're going to focus on and really start talking about today. We're not going to go into every single bullet here because that's a lot. We want to really try to stay high level. And by the way, I'll say this, we're happy, all of us are happy to get on a call one-on-one and answer any questions, or obviously give you a demo of any of our products and answer any specific questions. But high level here, what you really should be focusing on, omnichannel, right? It's not just a buzzword, like Erin said, that Amazon-like experience. Yes, even in the gun industry, right? So your store, your e-commerce, if you have a mobile app or want a mobile app, and yes, you can have a mobile app even in the firearms industry, especially if you have a range, you can have a range app. You can do geofencing. There's just so much you can do. And marketplaces, right? So your online marketplaces like GunBroker, those orders, everything can connect. Your inventory can connect. Your orders can flow right in. You can post right to the marketplace, all within one system. It's important to give your customers a unified experience, but it's equally as important to give your staff a unified experience in terms of how they run the business. Smarter inventory, we're going to get to distributor integrations and really lean into how you can save time and sell more without even stocking products. Customer retention, digital marketing. Hopefully everybody is sending emails, but how are you emailing? And what are the methods and what sort of technology are you using to facilitate it? Compliance, A&D, integration with 4473. Are you storing it in the cloud? And then of course, all of this is just scalable. So when you bring in all of this, and you don't have to do it all at once, you can bring in one piece at a time or, in phases. But the more of all of this that you can incorporate in your business, the better off you will be. So first, let's jump into store replenishment and how you can specifically integrate with distributors to save time and reduce errors and just be more efficient.
Yeah, Michelle, so it's all about leveraging the data and what Lipsey's as a supplier being integrated with Celerant can bring to companies so that they can extend their catalog and save a lot of manual time and effort, getting inventory set up, getting their catalog to a place where it needs to be online. The more you can take advantage of the data somebody else has, that's good data, and we feel good about ours, the better off you can be and be more efficient. So importing catalogs into your point of sale, which then gets to your e-commerce channel as well. Tracking UPC numbers, if you're not doing that already, very important. Getting images updated, getting pricing. Right now, pricing is very volatile. So things could change tomorrow about pricing. Manufacturers have different programs. You want to be able to take advantage of those changes and not have manual processes where you need to manually update pricing and then be behind. So you want to take advantage of that, and we're feeding that inventory daily, hourly, very often to Celerant to keep that updated. And then using the systems to act like buyers, right? You want to take the time, set up min and max rules to where we can automate replenishment for your stores for the core items that you want to keep in stock on the shelves all the time. And we can help you with that. With our dedicated sales team and your sales executive, we're going to monitor your account, contact you multiple times a week, make sure everything's going good to keep you in stock. So when you do get foot traffic from your e-commerce store or whatever the channel is you're trying to get people in there, you're going to be in stock. It also reduces errors. So no more somebody could accidentally check out with the wrong item. Maybe they're calling with a different model number than it should be. When you get it all locked into a system, you can feel more assured that it's going to match on the UPC level down to what you're trying to order from your store. And then having that visibility, we are your warehouse. So everything in our inventory, you should have visibility into your system so you can take that special order at the counter without a problem, or your e-commerce website be powered to have that availability, and really try to own your zip code at the least so that you're getting foot traffic in for special orders and pickup. So saving 5 to 10 hours a week, you can see how it'd be very easy to save an hour a day at least by having these different implementations put together, going through the implementation process with Celerant, and then making sure everything's tied together, do some testing, and then when you see the ordering and you get comfortable and it's working, you'll see the benefits and efficiency you can gain from having this types of auto ordering, replenishment, and then just inventory monitoring systems in place.
Yeah, and I want to really, so there's a lot of ways, specifically that we at Celerant integrate with Lipsey's, but there's one here that I really want to just highlight for a second. It's the automated ordering, right? Because that right there will save dealers so much time, and you don't even have to stay on top of it or even really pay attention to where your levels are. So how that works is you pick, your fastest moving products, right? The products you never want to be sold out of, whether it's 20 or 100 or whatever it is. You can start small and grow. You set your min and max level. As soon as the software reaches that minimum level, it's going to automatically generate a purchase order to get you to that max. And then on a scheduled task, it'll automatically push it out to Lipsey's. We push out the orders. The Celerant software pushes out the orders automatically and then pulls back that acknowledgement, and then later an ASN, advanced ship notice. So think about how much time that saves. No one on your staff is having to even be aware that this shelf is empty or getting low, and then manually create that PO and then manually send it or go to Lipsey's website or whatever. It all happens within our Celerant software, and it all happens behind the scenes, and it's automated. So that's one example of many that really helps save time and streamline.
And from a distributor level, we're not ever going to try to sell you more than you want either. We strictly go by the numbers. We want to keep you in good inventory position. So, we adhere to the rules and follow all the, we're not trying to get anything over on anybody. We want to be your partner in this.
Yep. All right, so disconnected systems really can slow you down. When systems are connected, or I should say when they don't talk to each other, when they're not connected, dealers are losing 15 to 20% of revenue. So that's a perfect example of why every day you wait is another day of costing you revenue, right? You're losing money by having everything disconnected. And we're not just talking about your store and your website, which we'll get to in a minute, but we're also talking about compliance and A&D and just all aspects of your business. We'll switch gears a little bit here and really start talking about e-commerce for a minute. Consumers really want that unified experience, right? They want to go on your website. They want to know exactly what you have. They want to know what's in stock, and they can actually drive to your store and touch it and buy the gun. Versus what are you pulling from a distributor that maybe you don't have in stock? That's more of a drop ship thing that we'll get to. But being able to show your customers everything that you have, both in store and online, being able to take that mobile point of sale to a gun show or wherever you want to go and take that to, having the flexibility to really be able to be mobile. Marketplace integrations, we mentioned gun broker. There's so many different, I feel like there's a new marketplace every month that seems to be popping up. But really paying attention to those marketplaces and making it a lot easier to post your products, manage your orders, and of course have that unified centralized inventory. So as soon as you sell something in your store, your website knows, the marketplace knows, and you're not overselling. And
these are all great points I'd like to touch on. That trying to scale something like marketplaces and e-commerce with people, you'll never be able to keep up. You'd have to have a different person doing something every day to even post to GunBroker, Amazon, all the other ones that exist. But when you have a unified system that can handle this for you, you can really scale your business and start to branch out and have different revenue channels that you just couldn't do unless you had this technology in place.
And also, I joked, but there's so many marketplaces today, and you as a dealer need to be able to share your on-hand inventory, right? If you're not sharing your on-hand inventory, then how is that all going to work? And when you have to manually share that with every different marketplace, that's a lot of work. But when you can automate it and have all these integrations already provided by your software provider, and behind the scenes, it's just sharing on-hand data every day to every marketplace, it saves you a ton of time. I won't get into it today because it's a future session, but we even have a brand new integration with GunBroker that we're launching next week or in 2 weeks. And we're calling it precision pricing, and it's brand new. And really what it's going to be is our retailers will be able, with our new platform, it's going to take their entire database of products. It's going to stack it up against the GunBroker data, and instantly it's going to tell our dealer which of their products they should sell on GunBroker and at what price to be competitive. Are they underpriced? Are they overpriced? Should they not even bother listing it? Well, our new system is going to exactly tell our dealers what to list and at what price. And then with one more click, you can just list it to the marketplace. So, that's not even announced yet. That's coming soon. But this is the type of stuff that is really going to help move the needle when you start embracing technology. All right, so going back to distributor integrations, but now really focusing on e-commerce. Let's talk, Aaron, about online product feeds and how you can really offer that endless aisle on your website without stocking more product.
Yes, the endless aisle we've been talking about for many years because it is the trend, especially when you have a brick and mortar store. You want to find different revenue channels you don't have now. So being able to take advantage of our inventory, displaying it as your inventory, and being able to capture sales you just didn't have before. So taking advantage of our product catalog feeds integrated in the Celerant already. Just need to turn it on and get it working. You can add, thousands of products doing the work. And then depending on what the product is, we can drop ship it directly to your customers. If it's a non-ATF controlled item, it's ATF control, we can facilitate firearm drop ship orders, and you having the most important part, the customer service built around that experience that your customer has to make sure it's going to be a good experience in the transfer. It's going to go through correctly, and all the customer service that involves that. And then inventory risk, we're a wholesaler. Our job is to keep inventory in stock to supply your stores when you need it. So we're taking on that inventory risk, and you're taking some risk investing in these systems and doing the work to get it going. So, we're taking that on, but we want to help you. We want to power those e-commerce engagements and get more customers to your door. Adding 20 to 40% more SKUs online is easy when you have these systems in place. You can do things, and going through, this is just a screenshot of one of our mutual customers, that putting the right resources behind an e-commerce platform, it's not, now you also can't make a website and then not promote it. So you also have to find the marketing engine, which Celerant can help you with, and how are you going to promote it? How are you going to get your name out there? The marketplaces help, local advertising helps. Whatever you can do within the confines of our industry, you should really be looking at. But having the technology in place to do it is paramount, because if not, you're going to be, to set up thousands of items on a website by hand is just not going to work. And you're not going to be able to scale with everybody else you're competing with.
And the real beauty of leveraging the online feed and drop ship is anything and everything that Lipsey's has in stock in their warehouse, you can sell on your website and you don't have to stock it. And it's all going to, the system will know what needs to be fulfilled by your store versus something that's going to drop ship and you're going to send it to Lipsey's. FFO locators are on the website. Everything is there so that you can easily sell firearms online and have your distributors drop ship.
Yep, and accessories, you open that up as well. Make sure you're taking advantage of that segment.
All right, another poll question here. I'm going to pop up. Describe your compliance process. So we've talked a lot about e-commerce, and now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and go into the compliance aspect. So the question is, describe your compliance process. A, we still use paper, manual paper 4473s and paper BoundBook. B, some digital tools, but still mostly manual. C, using electronic forms, but not fully integrated. D, digital 4473 and digital A&D e-forms with some automation. And E, fully digital, integrated with my POS and e-commerce. And again, I would call that category our rock stars. So let's see, we're only at 33%. So go ahead and select which option is most applicable to your business. And then I will give it a couple seconds. All right, we got a lot of people on and we're only at 50%. So if you're there, go ahead and select, oh, there we go. A couple more came in. All right, I'm gonna close this and show it. All right, we closed at 60%. That is good enough, so. All right, Jamison, go ahead and read that. When I show it, it comes up so small on my end.
Yep, so you got manual paper 4473s and paper BoundBook at 40%. Some digital tools, but mostly manuals at 20%. Nobody selected using electronic forms, but not fully integrated. You get 20% at digital 4473s, A&D, e-forms, and a little bit of automation. And then you've got 20% that are rock stars with fully digital integrated with my POS e-commerce.
Interesting. All right, so we got like about 60% who are still somewhat, or I guess really mostly manual. So good. So let's hide this and then get into compliance. All right, Jamison, walk us through this. Digitizing your BoundBook and 4473.
Yeah, it's not quite as exciting as streaming, thousands of guns to your online inventory, but we're going to keep your business.
Equally as
Yeah, well,
important.
it's very important. We're going to keep you in business so you can sell thousands of guns. FastBound is going to help you with your compliant BoundBook, and it's important to have it fully integrated to your system so it's easy to receive in, so you don't create redundancies or errors and things like that. In today's modern world, like, technology is catching up. ATF understands what it does, and so they are starting to, be a little bit tighter on some of these typos and errors and things like that, and not as forgiving when you make, the same error over and over again because you're stuck on paper. With digital solution, we're going to prevent a lot of the common mistakes in your BoundBook. We're going to ensure that it's correct FFLs. It's always updated. And then with your digital 4473s, we're going to eliminate almost as much errors as possible. And then having it fully integrated into your POS and e-commerce solution, it's just going to be a very clean, neat, efficient process where you're receiving the gun, you're putting it on the shelf, somebody's coming in, and you can literally walk through that whole sale process from starting a sales order, buyer filling the form out, running the background in a matter of minutes, compared to somebody taking a clipboard, going sitting in a corner and sitting there filling it out, and then doing a typo and entering it into Nix, and then printing it out and going through so many steps that can be automated through technology.
And who said it at the client conference, Travis? It might have been you, where you said, as technology has evolved so much, so have the expectations of the ATF, right?
Yeah, I'd like to take credit, but it was actually Brian with FFL
Okay.
Guard. But but he's right. And ATF, they really do encourage FFLs to use some type of technology to increase their compliance, whether it's electronic A&D record, electronic 4473s, companies like FastBound and the others that are out there try to keep you in the guardrails, right? That's the key. You have to operate and you have to function within the guardrails of the regulations. And the software helps do that. As the slide says, 80% of ATF violations are clerical. It's 2025. There's no reason to be using a piece of paper and a pen to fill out a 4473. As Jamison mentioned, it's faster. But again, because of the technology and how much better it's getting and keeping people compliant, the ATF's expectations are increasing as well. So if you're using 40% of y'all on the webinar here are using paper, you're just asking for a problem with ATF. And make no mistake, just because Biden's no longer in office and the zero tolerance has gone out the door for now, that's temporary. What is permanent is how you address your compliance in your store operations every day. And you need to use technology to do that.
They're still out doing audits. So
I'm sorry, Jameson, say that again?
I said they're still out there doing audits. They're knocking on doors. They're going through, looking at your paperwork and everything like that.
They're
not
doing it
slowing down.
today. So they're actually deemed essential somehow. They're deemed essential by the U.S. government. So they're out doing audits today while the rest of the government is shut down. So don't think you're safe just because we don't have a Democrat in the White House. And then the last step, of course, is as Jamison said, you're using. Me personally, I don't care what you're using. If you're using paper today, you have to get off of paper. Use the free ATF electronic 4473. I don't care how you do it, but get off of paper, go digital, use technology, BoundBook, electronic 4473, and storage. The number of options that are out there, there are several, but no matter who you go with, make sure you're going digital and make sure you know what is to be expected. So there are 3 rulings you need to be aware of: ATF ruling 2016-1, 2016-2, and ATF ruling 2022-1. Those govern all of your electronic BoundBooks, 4473s, and digital storage. Make sure you understand what is written in those rulings, and make sure you are questioning the companies that you're vetting before you move to them to make sure they're compliant. Nobody on this panel, Jamison or I, we're not accountable to your compliance in your store. You are accountable to your FFL and your compliance. So you're the ones that ATF's going to hold accountable. So make sure you know exactly what you should be asking when you're vetting these companies.
I will throw out a shameless plug. That's why we work with FFL Guard to provide a compliance guarantee. We don't just go, hey, my local IOI said it was okay if I build my software this way. We work with a compliance industry, attorney to ensure that our product is compliant and it's backed by FFL Guard, because we don't want to get any of our dealers in trouble.
All right, so now let's talk about 4473s and electronic cloud digital storage, cloud storage.
So storage is just the next step, right? You've been able to do a digital BoundBook and a digital 4473 since 2008 under the ATF rulings. The next step is storing everything digitally. Right now, you got to keep every 4473 that you start, you have to keep for the life of your FFL. It used to be 20 years for transferred forms, 5 for denied, 5 for no sales. That all went out the window with ATF ruling 2021-5R. But anyway, now you have to keep every 4473 forever. So what happens is you have stacks and stacks of 4473s in your back room. It's cluttered. You have to do traces on those 4473s. Going digital eliminates all of those, right? It also protects you against fire, theft, from a PCI compliance perspective. Aaron, you're down in Louisiana. Those hurricanes tend to come off the Gulf every now and then. You don't want to have to worry about your 4473s, right? You want to know that they're taken care of. So more room to keep the right inventory at the right time in your store, and also no more paper, right? That is a big thing. So we're saving the trees, and we're making your operations more efficient.
And I always love telling the story of Jim's Firearms, who we have on a slide coming soon. But they had a huge closet, and when I was down in Louisiana, they showed it. It was a huge closet, and it was full of binders and paperwork. And now they've gone completely digital, and there's no more binders. And well, the binders may still be in the corner of the shop somewhere, but there's no more paperwork. And they now jokingly call it their suppressor cave, and they have diversified, and they're now storing a ton more product. So that's what it's all about.
It's also going to help get the ATF out of your facility when they show up to do an audit. You go to digital BoundBook, it's nice and clean, they're knocking it out. And then when you do the digital 4473s with 4473 cloud, they're in and out. You're not having to go get all the banker's boxes and they're sitting there flipping through the paperwork.
Yep. And it actually surprised me when we were at an industry show over the summer, how many dealers came to our booth and are still using are completely manual and just on all aspects and operating out of a cigar box. And so, take the first step, just start with part of this and then just grow from there. I know for those of you who are not using any technology, this might all sound really overwhelming. But I always say start small and then choose the right partner to help guide you through it and then expand as you go. All right, we are going to shift now a little bit out of compliance and into marketing. And my background is marketing. That's my passion. So I will take the lead on these next couple of slides here. But you can't just depend on walk-in traffic alone, right? I'm going to take a guess that most everybody on this session is sending emails. But how are you sending those emails, right? Are you sending batch emails? Excuse me. With no personalization, just mass emails to everybody in your database? Or are you sending personalized one-to-one emails based on actions that they have done? It's not just email marketing either, right? There's all different aspects to marketing. For example, apps, right? If you have an app or you have a range app, you can put geofencing. You can set it up on the app. You can send automated push notifications to your customers as soon as you know they're in the vicinity of your store. So that's really using digital channels to increase foot traffic for impulse buys in your store or even your range. So there's a lot you can do. And of course, whether it's the app or it's all the digital marketing that I'm talking about, it's to get new business, but it's also to get repeat business. And that's the beauty of it. 65% of retailers say their biggest challenge is generating consistent traffic, both in store and online. And so being able to really leverage your customer base and market to them in the right way really helps solve that. So quick poll question here, last one. What type of email marketer are you? So I just went ahead and launched that. So go ahead and select the most applicable answer here. So you may not send emails. If you don't do email marketing, that would be answer A. Answer B, I send occasional emails and maybe newsletters, once in a blue. C, I send mass email blasts to all contacts, which is what I was referring to, right? You create an email and then it goes out to everybody in your database. Spray and pray is what they used to call that. D, I send segmented campaigns to specific groups and lists. This is when we start to do some personalization or some segmentation, I should say. And then E, I send personalized automated emails triggered by purchases. Some of our retailers may select option E. I don't know if they're on here today or not. All right, so go ahead and select the answer that most applies. We are at 40%. So I'm going to give it another minute. Go ahead and just make the selection that is most applicable to your business. Wow, it is a 50-50 split. So if anybody else is on and has not yet selected, go ahead and put that through. And I'm going to go ahead and close this just for the sake of time. All right, 50% don't send emails. And the other 50% send somewhat segmented campaigns to different groups and lists. So for those of you who don't send emails at all yet, the first step, of course, is collecting email addresses, because you can't start sending emails until you have collected all those email addresses. So yeah, the type of emails that you send are really going to depend on the platform that you're using, right? So if you don't send emails, start collecting those email addresses. Every customer that walks in your store, you can start collecting those emails. You can use social media. There's a whole bunch of ways in which you can start collecting those emails, but start collecting them. Because once you have a list of a couple hundred and then a couple thousand, that's when you can really start marketing to these people and really help drive business into your store. But it's all about what types of emails are you sending and what are you putting in those messages, right? So trigger campaigns and being able to actually connect purchase history and customer preferences, pulling from your store, your website, your app, and then having automated emails sent out to your customer based on the products that they purchased, right? Being able to automate that and have it personalized. If your messages are too generic and your subject lines aren't strong enough, people aren't even going to open your emails. And then when they do open your emails and they realize that you're sending them marketing for products that you don't even buy, they're going to opt out, or they're just not going to pay attention. So the more you can personalize your message based on what you know that specific customer likes to buy, the brands they buy, or if they purchase this particular firearm, you can send an automated email suggesting accessories that go with that specific gun. If they left the cart abandoned, you can send automated emails to, I mean, that's the easiest, right? That's the first automation that all our dealers want to set up. Because when you can automatically send emails to your customers as soon as they leave items in the shopping cart, that is instant ROI right there. And that one workflow in itself typically will pay for the email platform, just that one workflow. And then depending on how creative you get with the different workflows will really just depend on how far you want to take it. But there's so much you can do when it's all connected. And it's not just email marketing, right? Shameless plug for us here at Celerant. We just launched our customer engagement suite, where of course it's email marketing. We've always offered that, but now it's also SMS. You can send text messages. We also have for a while now integrated with Otter Text, and we have a phenomenal integration there too, specifically for firearms, for text messaging, because there's a lot of regulations there as well. But it's online reviews, Google reviews. You can connect the Google My Business, you can connect all your Google reviews, Yelp, everything can all be connected and managed in one place. Social media, right? Everybody's hopefully posting on social. You're probably going to Facebook to do everything there. You're going to Instagram or wherever you're going to do all of what you're doing. Well, now with technology stacks in our suite that we just launched, everything is connected in one place. So instead of having to go to all these social media platforms, you can now just go to your suite here and manage all of your postings, manage all of your engagement, and do everything in one place. Email marketing is the absolute most cost-effective form of marketing. It just is. And the number here is and it's increasing. Every dollar invested in email marketing returns an average of $36. So imagine as you start to scale that and start collecting those emails and really building this out in a more personalized way, what that ROI will look like. It's massive.
With the integrated solution with our 4473, we're capturing the email and the cell phone number. And then that information is being pulled back into Celerant, so you can start this whole email campaign. So as they're buying the firearms, you know what they're buying, and then you're pulling all their information to start that marketing campaign.
Absolutely. All right, so we are going to start to wrap this up. We've got about 7 minutes left, just a couple more slides here. Ultimately, as we've kind of gone through at length here, it's the dealers who act now that will dominate tomorrow. So there's a lot of different technology that we talked through. We didn't get too in the weeds with any one topic because on this round we just wanted to just kind of bring it all to the table. But ultimately, the market has shifted and old habits won't win anymore. What worked 3 years ago is just simply not working today. And, you know, unfortunately, what we've seen over this past year, especially, is a lot of dealers are just wanting to stay with the status quo and put these projects on hold. And that really is not the best strategy for your future growth. So being able to incorporate even just some of these different things we talked about, if you're a Celerant dealer on today's call and you're already using our software, so much of what we went through today, we don't even charge you for that. Like, we encourage you to use distributor integrations. There's no fee for the distributor integrations. We just turn it on, get the project started. Our implementation manager will walk you through it, and you can very easily save time and streamline operations, and it's not even an extra fee. Of course, if you're going to use FastBound or 4473 Cloud, again, for our Celerant dealers, we don't charge for those integrations, but of course you have to become a client of either FastBound or 4473 Cloud. And depending on your volume, might depend on what that looks like, but just start small and start doing something, because like the line says, their winners prepare in uncertainty, and that's how they win in recovery. Last slide, and this is our shameless plug for all 4 of our companies here. The 4 of us specifically have done these webinars, I don't even know at this point, a dozen times. We've worked together for many years. We've got our annual client conference, these guys and a lot more come every year to our event. And it's all about educating our dealers. There's a lot that we all offer independent of each other, but also together. And all of our systems connect to make this so much easier and faster for you as the dealer. And so, you know, together we really help accomplish everything that we talked about today. So if you're not using our platforms, talk to your platforms, because they may be capable of some of this, a lot of this. And if they are, jump on it. And if they're not, and you want to start looking, we're here to answer any questions and offer, you know, whatever guidance you need. All right, and this is Jim's Firearms. I mentioned this already, but this is one of my favorite success stories here, because this is now a 34-year business. I think they've been with us just over 2 years. And Jim, of course, as the name says, Jim's Firearms. They were completely manual for 32 years in Baton Rouge, and Dylan, the son, is coming in and really just revamping the whole business. Little by little, we've helped, all of us here have helped digitize their entire business, which is still ongoing. But they're using FastBound. Of course, they're using Celerant. We've got eCommerce. We've got 4473 Cloud. They have now, this is the client I said, who is now, you know, storing their whole new suppressor cave where they once had all that paper. And of course, they're starting to do all these really cool integrations with Lipsey's as well. Jamison, anything you want to add on the gyms piece with the compliance?
No, I mean, they're doing a great job. They're utilizing all our tools. They've come a long way from a compliance standpoint. So I know when ATF comes knocking on the door, they're comfortable and that they're using FastBound. So it's going to be an easy inspection.
Yep, and FFL Guard was always there too to help and support with when they needed it for their business needs there. And that also comes standard with FastBound. All right, last slide. Here's all of our information. We've got 2 minutes left, so perfect timing. Reach out to any of us, all of us, if you want to talk more. Drop any questions. We do have a couple of minutes. Put any questions you have in the question pane here. We did have quite a few come in already. And last thing I'll say before we get to the questions is, if you're not using Celerant and you're not sure, I mentioned earlier Cumulus and Stratus, you're not sure which system is right for you, so you can take our quiz. It takes 2 or 3 minutes. The link is right there, right above that big red box, celerant.com/quiz. And it's pretty cool. You'll answer some very specific questions, and then you'll get a very personalized assessment back based on your specific answers, which of our systems is right for your business. There's just a lot of helpful educational information in there too. So I encourage you to do that. All right, we've got some questions coming in and we'll get to it. So one question was, how do I, all right, this is Travis, for you, I would assume, how do I apply for my SOT?
It's actually really easy. So it's ATF Form 5630.7. Takes a few minutes to fill it out, send it in. And unlike your FFL, there's no inspection, there's nothing like that. You basically just, you apply, and within a couple of weeks, you get your EIN or your SOT mailed to you, and then you're in the NFA business. It's quite simple.
Awesome. All right, how long does, this is probably for you, Jamison, maybe you, Trev. How long does the 4473 process take with the integration, with the automation, I would assume?
I mean, it depends on all the tools that you're utilizing. So it can take, just a few minutes usually to go through and walk through the whole process. So you start the sale in Celerant, it creates a 4473, you give the buyer a PIN number, they walk over to an iPad, enter it in, scans their ID, answer all the questions. That probably takes like a minute or two. Then they go back. You can utilize our Nix Direct or our browser extension to run the background, so you're not having to type everything in. So it really cleans up that process. I would say 2.5, 3 minutes maybe, compared to 10 to 15 minutes for somebody to go through and fill out a paper copy. Right.
So a fraction of the time. And then Travis, we had another question here. If I wanted to convert my business and store 4473s in the cloud, how do I get started?
That's real simple. We can have you set up. You can be storing forms digitally in about 5 minutes. Just at our website, click Get Started, fill out the information. It automatically creates your account, and then you can start storing forms digitally. Sorry.
Awesome. Another question is, which distributors does Celerant integrate with? So of course, Lipsey's, and we integrate with many. We have over 65 distributor integrations, and I think 27 of them are specific to the firearms industry. So lots of options. We know that, most all of our dealers order from Lipsey's, but they order from 2 or 3 or 4. And so you can bring in several integrations, and of course you can prioritize your vendors as well. Aaron, this one's for you. What does the shipping turnaround time look like at Lipsey's? So I'm assuming like if it's the same day or?
Yeah, so if orders are placed before about midday, we try to get all orders out every day. So store direct orders, your account executive is going to see those and coordinate with you to make sure we're doing the best for your account, add on to it, whatever it is. So all orders are going to ship within 24 hours, business days. So we pride ourselves in getting orders out efficiently. If it's a drop ship order, cutoff is at 8 a.m. So anything that came in today would ship tomorrow. And we just kind of batch the work there. So very streamlined. All the guidelines and a lot of that information is on lipseys.com. But and of course, if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to us directly. But we pride ourselves on shipping fast.
Awesome. All right. Well, we went 2 minutes over, so thank you everybody for staying with us. And Travis, Jamison, Aaron, as always, thank you so much for joining me today. If y'all have any questions, just reach out to us directly. All our info is here on the screen. Have a great day.
Thanks all.
Thanks all.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.